position.
Oh, Kisee! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the LCO, delivered by Menulog. And look, all my energy, of course, is delivered by Dare as well. I get a drink for free. So, type at MacMate in chat and DM me on the Twitter sphere, and maybe I can, send you one of these in the mail. See how that evolves. But look, for now, we've got to get into this grand final rematch discussion, because it's going to be a very interesting affair. Order and Chiefs, of course, going head-to-head yet again. Both teams definitely in with a shot, Kitty.
In with the shot, but with new players. We have Aladoric coming on for the Chiefs and Goodo coming on for Order. So it might be a little different from what we've seen from Split 1.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the Order roster quickly, just to see what's going on here, who looks good, who doesn't look good, and who's going to perform today. Rusty, I'm going to throw this one to you. Who are we looking at to perform?
I actually am looking at Puma and Corporal. So I think it's very easy to look at the Chiefs side and say Aladoric's back. That's exciting. I think we have to look at Puma and Corporal because internationally Puma was very consistent. Corporal was the one that was definitely being targeted a lot, had a lot of deaths to say the least. This is one of those matchups in the bot lane where if you underperform against Raes, if you underperform against Aladoric, you lose. Okay. So you need to play well. And I have high expectations for our two international representatives to do so.
Well, Skimmy, you just gave me some eyes. What were they for? What are you thinking? What's going through your mind?
I'm just really hoping Max is playing on Puma's account again. I thought, honestly, his Kalista performance was just phenomenal. 10-0, I mean, give this guy a lifetime contract at Order.
He's been doing pretty well, hasn't he? Now, the super sub, he's not here today. I don't think he was here yesterday. I think that was maybe a production glitch, plug in the matrix you're talking about. But look, in terms of performance, Order looking relatively decent yesterday. Look, still trying to figure out where Goodo fits. He was doing a little bit of limit testing himself, just playing around with the Lee Sin, maybe overextending here and there. But of course, hindsight is 2020. He didn't know that there was 5 Gravitas members just tucked around the corner, did he, Kitty?
He definitely did not, but we knew. So.
We knew. We have vision. We have observers. We can see everything. If you're watching and you haven't seen League of Legends before, all the players can't see everything. It feels like it doesn't need to be said, but some people just don't know. They actually don't, which
now
is
you've said it.
Crazy. And if you didn't know, type 1 in chat, and I'm going to point you out. Anyway, we've got a second team to talk about. Huh?
Chat's over there.
Is it? Oh, well, I was pointing in their eyes.
Oh, true.
Someone else that loves to point in your eyes is Tally. And then he smiles and makes you feel better about it. But he is here. He had a good performance yesterday for the Chiefs. Raes as well. Got to be worried about him and Skimmy. Talk to me about Aladoric. This man, he's so aggressive, but in the best possible way.
Yeah, it's really great to see him back, isn't it? I mean, I'm just waiting for the day he busts out that Rakan and Leona one more time. Maybe it's not the case in this current meta where China's are so good, but hey, we saw from this game yesterday, it was really a case of just play as many engage options as possible. Forget this idea that you just need to play scaling, you need to play damage, you need to play from afar and protect and peel and all the rest. It's boring. We're farming solo kills. You're Topoon, you're Ornn, you're doing 40% of your team's damage. Illegal. You're Draven. You're saying, look, I can style on you from start to finish. You don't get to play an on-hit Sivir as opposed to the Boomerang Dark Harvest variation. So just across the board, yeah, I mean, a really great introduction for both the Chiefs and Order to take on some of the lower teams like Mammoth and Gravitas and really give them a bit of a humbling, right? I mean, these teams, both Order and Chiefs, had like an 8k gold lead by 15 minutes in. So there's a clear divide, right? But this is what we're all excited about, is the rematch and the colliding styles.
Yeah, I wonder who's going to be gapping today. Now, it's in this sort of scaling meta at the moment where we are. Raes, he loves that Draven. You know that this man can just scale into a W no matter what game he's playing. Is that going to start to warrant a ban if we sort of stay in this like hyper scaling meta at the moment, long game, Rusty?
I don't think there's ever a world where you ban Draven. In the current meta, I don't think that's ever realistic. If he locks it in, you just have to deal with it as it comes. Draven is, compared to the other champions right now that are being banned, Draven's nothing. He's a drop in the ocean.
Okay. Well, he said it, but it still looks
Raes
amazing
Draven's
in the hands of
significant,
Raes. So maybe it's not
drops.
worth that
There's
target
2 drops in the
ban.
ocean.
Wait, what?
But Raes is twice as good as the average Draven, but it is still just a drop in the ocean, is what we're saying.
It's 2 drops.
2 drops in the
Why
ocean.
is he 2 drops in the ocean?
Because he's 2 times as good.
But the ocean's a big mass of water. Anyway, look, you've heard enough
He's
from
lost
us. I'm lost. They've lost the plot. They've lost me. They've probably lost you too. But people that aren't lost are the players. So we're going to hear their thoughts about this matchup today.
I think as a team, we're looking to put less pressure on ourselves throughout the regular season. So even though this is the grand final rematch, there's not really much riding on it.
I feel like we have a lot more to prove now because we kind of had a sad MSI run and we're the defending champions now. So I would say it's still us that has the pressure.
I'm excited to rematch them because they have a new jungler now in Goodo, and he could be an upgrade for them. See if they actually become a better team from it.
I just think stylistically he fits our team really well. No matter what, it'll just be great for us.
Pretty sure it happened to PGG as well. They went to MSI and they came back and they lost all their games, and everyone lost hope in them. So we'll see if Ornn's able to do the same thing as well.
I think we'll be just as strong within best of ones. And I know we did take a bit of a break after MSI. So even washed up, I think it'll still destroy Chiefs.
Some words of wisdom coming through there from all the players. Now, Chiefs also trying to figure out how Goodo sort of fits into Ornn's lineup. How do we feel about this one going into it,
About Goodo?
I guess just about the matchup as a whole. Are Ornn going to be able to do it again without Kevy?
I think they have to do something. So the interesting thing about not having Kevy into the Chiefs is that you can't just play for a jungle gap anymore.
Okay.
You have to play for a lane gap. So someone else has to carry it. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is Game 5 of the finals, right?
Yeah.
Where it was a Kisee Silas. So I'm expecting in my mind something like that in terms of performance from Kisee, not necessarily champion, where he steps up and that's how they get the win. I think that's the best way for them to do that with Goodo to facilitate.
Okay, well, look, let's talk about a couple of things. We've got Raes there with Aladoric now, and the thing that stands out to me with all of this footage coming through from Media Day is there is a big lack of these ones right now.
It's true. I do miss the
Without
big man.
Dragku there, he's not quite there anymore. He doesn't have these.
No.
We only see Bulldog. I've seen him do a couple of flexes. Anyway, Kitty, someone's on the phone. Ring, ring. Who is it?
Mr. Goodo or perhaps Mr. Batter. So, Goodo, I finally get to talk to you on the LCO interview. How have you been?
I've been just resting, just changing, just getting to the team. Pretty much it. I'm just getting used to it, yeah.
No, very good. So, I got one question for you. How are you finding the communication in the team at Order in comparison to your last couple of teams? Is it better? Do you feel like you feel more at home? Are you fitting in?
Compared to that, was everyone's just more involved, more proactive. So I'm just getting to the team environment. So yeah, pretty much it's so new, so it's kind of hard for me to communicate with them right now, but I'm just getting used to it, yeah.
Okay.
And we have you replacing Kevy from Split 1, where you do have a different style of jungle, where Kisee is usually the carry player if you guys are going to pair up. So what do you think your spot is on the team and how the team dynamic has changed?
It could be just good for me, having me as a jungler for Order. No disrespect for Kevy. Kevy was quite good, but I think since they could win the whole split with the Kevy, I think it might be just not hard to win with me. Yeah, I'm just waiting for they carry me.
Oh, well, look, hopefully you play your role beautifully, and I guess the big test is about to come up as well. So we'll let you go and get ready for this game against the Chiefs.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Best of luck for Goodo. He sounded, quietly confident. He knows his role. He knows that he's not Kevy, but he thinks that he suits Order. So I guess we'll see if that rings true as the split progresses. But for now, I want you guys to ring in, dial up with Twitch points, put them on for the Dare fan vote, and tell us what you think is going to happen in this grand final rematch today. Is it going to be Order? Is it going to be Chiefs? And what are you going to do with all of those channel points? Are you going to use them to make Rusty eat a cupcake. I don't know. It's not
Cheat
there
day?
right now. Cheesecake?
Cheat day?
Cheat day?
Yeah.
Cheese day.
I cheat all days.
Ah, fair
with
enough,
food.
mate.
I
Fair
don't
enough.
have macros, mate. I just eat food.
Yeah, eat food.
Yeah.
Work hard.
I'm still losing weight that I don't want to
Work
lose.
it off. Oh, I wish we all
Yeah,
had that
it's an
problem,
issue.
honestly. Look, let's have a look at our predictions. How we think this one's going to go. No split. No split.
I wasn't sure if someone would, because the thing is, like,
Are you looking at me directly when you say that?
yeah,
Yep. Okay.
like no reason, no bias. I
No
just,
reason.
I just thought, like, you look at this on paper and you're like, I can see a world that Order wins. I just think that Aladoric has been seen as an upgrade, and there's absolutely a recency bias there, where you'd expect Goodo takes time.
Yeah.
So predicting this is hard. It's hard to predict Order, but if they prove us wrong, I'm all for it, because that's exciting.
I'm still going with who I think the favourites are, and from what I saw from Chiefs yesterday, it was just that much more convincing than what we saw from Order. But look, Order is still working things out.
In saying that, Chiefs won by not playing what you would consider the meta right now, right? So there is definitely a world where Order, who look just as convincing playing meta, can just run them over with like the better champions, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Okay.
And for this game, we have two Korean Lee Sins facing off at each other. But although Kevy used to be a really good Lee Sin from Split 1,
Yep.
Goodo is the deal.
Yeah.
The deal.
The
The
deal.
real deal.
The real deal. The deal maker. The
Not the
deal
water
breaker.
witch, the deal.
Not the water witch.
Who
I
is
love
he?
that.
Well, we're about to find out because ladies and gentlemen, gentle nerds, gentle women, Champ Select's ready.
Boom. Here we are. Look at that. Quick transition off the script, and here we are. Keen to see what happens in a grand final rematch. Well, it's not a final. It's actually just a regular day in the office for these boys. A best of one, a chance to see what they can do, and a chance for one team to showcase what they learned from MSI. For the other, a chance to say, we should have been in your shoes instead here, Rusty.
Yeah, the first time of 3 that they'll face each other
Oh.
as we go into this game, and definitely our match of the week, as I'll continue to talk while Skimmy gets a massage, because no doubt he's distracted. Just let him go zen. All right, your turn.
Yes. Yes, quick, hey, how are you? And, oh, okay, Corporal. I'm loving the upgrade there. Get comfy with the hoodie on. What is the ban priority? Taliri's taken away. Gwen as well.
LeBlanc as well. LeBlanc Victor, it's a very odd ban phase, I feel like, from the Chiefs here. The Wukong does make sense. Gwen,
Lucian.
well taken, yeah, so that Lucian gone, Gangplank up. I don't think there is another S-tier top laner that's going to be left up, right? You can pick, we've mentioned this a few times now, the Aatrox champions do exist. There are things that exist, but Gangplank seems to be the S-tier. So very curious as to what order are going to go into this one. With Lucian gone, it's not going to be a case of like a Lucian Namish outright. You can... This is interesting because you could have gone like the Jinx Lulu pathway if you wanted, the Cog Lulu pathway if you wanted. They're going to choose the Ezreal Karma. So I think Order in their first 2 picks have already said, we're not playing for bottom lane. You've just picked Gangplank first. We're probably just going to play a carry that beats at top side and play top focus with Goodo.
Absolutely. And I mean, Ezreal Karma is incredibly strong. Let's not forget about it. Definitely gets a lot of push, a lot of poke and harass and annoyance in its own right. But Chiefs have clearly laid down a gauntlet and said we're banning away some clear OPs. What we will guarantee is we get a GP. But what do we want to answer into that?
It should be noted here with the Senna locked in for Chiefs. I have seen Raes play Senna before. He is an absolute tyrant. He's one of the best Sennas that I've seen in all of the ADCs in the LCO. And we do have a very stacked roster of ADC players. So this is definitely something that I'm personally looking forward to. I don't think anyone's surprised by the follow-up champion that gets locked in with it of the Tahm Kench. It doesn't necessarily mean that the TK will be farming, but I think that is the expected path. However, a farming Tahm Kench into a Karma Ezreal is going to take a whole lot of damage. So lots to respect here.
It's only a soft counter towards it, right? I mean, you can only absorb so much damage. Definitely a way to try and deter the Tahm Kench from farming up freely and keeping up pace with the likes of an Ezreal.
Yeah, the shield won't do as much value, right? When it's poke, not so much as it is all in. We're going to be Viego to follow up as well. I think another core tenet of the jungle position that hasn't been phased out by the patch changes whatsoever. It does also mean you can probably go into 4 or 5 jungle bans if you wanted, just as a major point of difference here between what you've locked in so far in your first 3. For the Chiefs, with the Gangplank locked in, if you're afraid of being camped on top side, maybe aggressive bruiser-style champions that go top lane could be worth banning, unless you really do have like a preference for a mid lane matchup that you'd like to force, like the Ahri and the Sylas perhaps being banned away here.
Question is, how concerned are they of the matchup here for Topoon? Because you did see the Cho'Gath actually hovered as a response from Ornn in their first pick. It wasn't locked in. We've seen it already today. Did work when Liv played it.
I think what Chiefs are doing here is they're just going to either make Kisee play Ari and go Lissandra as a response. I think Chiefs are one of the only teams so far that have actually picked the Lissandra matchup. They might be really happy with that handshake. So I think that's what they're going to do. And then Arthur can really play anything. So banning away the Graves is nice because it's a strong champion, but his flexibility is still well and truly going to be there. Volibear Lissandra's got really high kill threat. Lee Sin working with that as well would. So if it is the Lissandra strat, they could do whatever they like.
They really can. And the Twist of Fate has been denied as well to prevent Chiefs from really getting all the globals in the world. To make them ever so present on the map, be it an Abyssal Dive, or be it the Cannon Barrage, or be it anything, really, to try and attack order in every lane at every moment. And Zero has been denied as well. Another pick that Kisee had hovered if they wanted that late game reliability. Hence why maybe the Victor's been denied too. Just any form of AoE control that can definitely give them a weapon of pure AP damage. The Ornn's going to come in nice and early now, so really are going to lock it down for that final pick to see what can Kisee get to try and answer back Tally's measure.
Definitely a volatile top lane matchup for the Ornn. We have seen some Gangplanks absolutely run away with this matchup. If you can weather it, then you should be okay. But it means that they're going to be hiding their mid lane pick here. Auto notorious for being able to flex that karma for what it's worth. We have ourselves the Nocturne. So, you know what? You could say they take away a global champion in TF. Nocturne's ult is a global blindfold. We'll give him that one. Lissandra was hovered. Again, still expected. So, if it's not the case, it was weird that they switched it up. Anyway.
And it goes back to your point, right? Given how they've really channeled their bans into forcing Kisee in a certain direction.
I think they just want the Ari or something of the likes, right? Where the Lissandra can handle that one perfectly fine. They can pressure it really hard with the Nocturne.
Certainly can't go down the avenue of any hard assassins like we know that Kisee's proficient at. Yone and Yasuo not on the table. They need the AP damage.
You could like cleanse Veigar, I suppose.
Veigar, Vex, Ring to Mine. Other champions he loves to play. Going to be a Zoe instead. Okay. So Zoe's going to be the play here to give him a little bit of ranged assault to try and really batter them down from afar before Chiefs look to try and hammer home and hard engage. This is an interesting approach.
I mean, I think as a composition, Zoe makes much more sense, right? It fits into the Ezreal play style.
Yeah.
You've got the Viego that gets resets with Ornn engages off of the poke from an Ezreal and a Zoe. That basically summarizes what the composition of order is going to do, right? They just need to get to that point. So you don't want to fall behind early. Falling behind early is devastating. The Zoe needs to be ahead.
Yes.
You're now into a Lissandra Nocturne, however, so there's a lot of reliance here on Goodo playing around, not necessarily ganking mid, but protecting mid. It could be pathing through wards. Place their Corporal off resets, probably going to be placing wards there. Kisee has to be the star of the show until he completes like the Ludens.
Yeah.
And then he wants to be one-hitting everybody. But they have a Tahm Kench to deny that. They have a Nocturne spell shield to deny that. Lissandra has the ultimate worst case scenario here as well. You've got oranges to eat, so it's really
spell
hard
shields,
to...
everything, yeah.
It is really hard to play the perfect game here for Kisee on Zoe. And the difficulty in execution here is a 10.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, timings are going to be of paramount importance here for order to try and identify windows of opportunity from which they can strike and strike hard, because Chiefs certainly won't give them too many invitations to make that play on their own terms. They have hard engage and they have good ways of forcing order into a situation and then barraging them with damage in that area. So we load ourselves in for the final game here for what is already the final game of the week. I mean, week one's already coming to a close, but what a way to close things out, because this is a game that surely everybody's been welcoming back.
I mean, it might be the final game of week one, but it is match of the week, right? It is that grand final rematch, one of 3 times that we will see this split in the lead up to the playoffs for Worlds. Tally on this Lissandra, definitely something that we can tout as the hero for the roster. Raes, I spoke about this already, absolute monster on the Senna. Aladoric on the Tahm Kench is definitely something we'll be keeping our eyes towards. And I think bot lane as a whole in the 2v2 is going to be super volatile, has the potential to be super volatile. Where I think both junglers can gank, but are probably looking for that level 6 power spike before they get something done.
Absolutely. I mean, more so even for Nocturne, right? Really wants to get that paranoia online as quickly as possible. Be that absolute menace, a pure nuisance to try and contend with. First ultimate, if that lands, Chiefs are certainly sitting pretty. Here we are loading into the rift for that final game, that match of the week, that one you've all been waiting for, and a chance just to see how have these teams fared from MSI to the off-season to all the prep, all the self-talk. and a determination to make the result work their way this time. Well, we'll ponder that question as we talk with a fan favorite in Series. Now, Series, mate, welcome back to the show. I know you didn't manage to make it over to MSI due to some rather unfortunate circumstances, but hey, look, how was the experience just being a part of it all?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. Obviously, I was still very much involved, managed through all the scrims, was able to spectate all of them, and then, of course, very heavily involved with a lot of the prep going into the games. It's a good experience for the boys. I think it honestly, like Kisee said it best on Twitter, it's humbling, of course, because they're significantly better in many aspects, and they punish us way harder than we ever did in Earth. And so yeah, it's just a great experience all around. Gonna hopefully take it forward going into the next split.
No doubt, and that's what we can all hope for. I mean, did it really meet your expectations? Did you have some expectations going into it? Did it exceed that, or were you sort of, much like Kisee mentioned, very much humbled and think this is far greater than I could have ever hoped for?
No, actually, I didn't really have any expectations going into it. I kept thinking to myself, like, oh, maybe we're delusional, but I think maybe we could upset them once or twice. And it turns out, like, low-key, we were kind of delusional about it. But for the most part, I didn't think I had, like, an excessive, any excessive expectations or anything like that. We were trying to take it as we come, trying to be, just respectful, but also not to be fearful of them.
Absolutely. I mean, we talk at large, right, of these teams going overseas and getting to verse the world's best. Is it as clear-cut as saying that you get that buff that lasts the next amount of time? Is it a clear lesson that you can take and say we can apply this instantly in these games going forward?
There's absolutely no way that you could apply it instantly, and there's also a very big disconnect between having consistent scrims at world tier and then moving back into OS. So what's really hard is being able to sustain the lessons that you learn, because like sometimes things that you're not getting punished for in OS, you just get blasted on the world stage, and then if you continue to not get punished again, it's easy to slip back into bad habits. So really, it just requires a lot of self-awareness from the boys, a lot of discipline, and a lot of maintenance.
Yep, certainly can be a product of your environment. Well, I appreciate your thoughts and feelings as always, Coach. And Series, we'll catch up next time. Wish you boys the best of luck for another season.
Yep, appreciate that.
I was watching you closely there. I saw what could have been a very quick chance at the first blood.
Yeah, there's a lot of action happening down here in bottom lane. Getting dicey. Aladoric did hit the W, but straight up Puma just eat forwards. The aggressive Ezreal under the turret, almost dying for that one. A lot of summoners were traded as a cleanse in Puma's court. Not an exhaust, not a heal. Doesn't get cancelled on the recall there. Really nice shield from Corporal. Bios for that one. Otherwise, we have just seen basically full clears from all junglers. Goodo, I believe, did a leashless red buff start, however, so super delayed in his clear. And then similar thing for Arthur. So while they are clearing all of their camps one by one, it has been a slow affair. They just trudge along to almost hide vision away from them, but Order had a late ward placed towards the Raptor camp itself. They had the information there. There was also a ward placed by Topoon just quietly for top laners. You should look at where that ward is. Not just for your lane. Amazingly, it turns out finding the jungler is valuable for the whole team.
It certainly is. I mean, this should just enable them now on the side of Order to get a double crab, which they are doing so rather successfully. Kisee there to assist and ensure that is the case as well. And now that the bot laner Chiefs have expended all their pressure, and they're going to go back to base themselves and look to try and equal out this power that Puma's just rocked up to base with.
I mean, it's a tier. It's not that powerful. But hey, you got the base off. It was a non-interrupted base. Otherwise, we are just going to be continuing to farm. His second clears, if you can call them that, come across for both junglers. Going to level 6 was what we expected to see from them. Mid lane as well, Kisee wants some levels as soon as possible. The closer he gets to 9, the closer he gets to having that ability haste, the Zoe combos get way more dangerous. Tally on the opposing side here, both mid laners opting towards the electrocute, so they are looking for the max damage trades. We just farm until that point.
Certainly are. Going to be rather steady until that point.
Top also ahead in CS. We haven't really looked at top at all yet. Not sure what BioPanther's really been up to, but so far he finds himself close to a full wave of minions ahead of the Gangplank. Topoon no mana as well. Overdue for a reset.
No doubt craving it. But Arthur's not going to give him that opportunity to come up and help anytime soon. He's got camps to clear, places to be,
The bickies.
and levels to acquire.
So in this top lane matchup as well, Topoon hasn't based, has the teleport in hand. BioPanther has just recently teleported back here. So that is one major point of difference. Also, BioPanther teleporting back without potions wants to prioritize the item spikes. Could be that he wants to hit 6 minutes with Ignite, go for the all-in. Certainly possible. Especially if Topoon doesn't reset and this wave gets thin. But you'd expect Topoon wants to crash this wave in base.
I always enjoyed a little standoff that you can have up against the GP where you're wondering, when's he going to hit that second keg? Is he going to commit anytime soon? Into the shadows they go. Raes has hit that route. He's claimed that soul. He's locked them down and made them slow. Alpha flashes forward, hits the tether, and you're feared. And you've just been first blooded. Chiefs burst into life and find that kill when they need it.
Yeah, really nicely done here by Chiefs. It's Aladoric engaging, right? Forcing the first abilities. And it's Arthur with a really deep flank. Order are pushed up. They're fighting aggressively, but they have no wards in place to protect them. So just caught sleeping there, perhaps caught without any wards left to place. And with all of them on cooldown, First Blood does go the way of the Chiefs.
That's what they want. Pre-6 as well. Fantastic move there for the Nocturne.
Kisee actually putting in crazy work. Now that I think about it, because Telly has teleport. That's such a suboptimal base for the Lissandra in comparison to what is a full lost chapter done by the Zoe.
It just feels like every time we're looking at the mid lane, he's in this exact position, pressed up and low in HP.
Yeah, and we said this during Champion Select, but against the Lissandra with a ganking jungler, you need the cleanse, so you can't afford to go for teleport yourself. You can't really afford to go for the ignite because Lissandra's ult does kind of diffuse a lot of that damage. So cleanse to survive, but still has a CS lead, has the push priority in mid lane, and got a free and really nice reset off with all of that still in mind.
Certainly can't argue with first base giving you that lost chapter. Extra pressure, at least before that blue buff comes around for your chance at constant harass. But love and life in the mid lane is Kisee right now. And we know that he's always keen to try and take those skill checks. He's consistently shown that across all of Split 1, even at MSI, up against some of the best like Caps.
He's a volatile laner, to say the least. Mr. Kisee, but when it works, it can win you Game 5 of the finals.
Oh, it's cancelled. Oh no, the rip back is gone. The self-cast on the Frozen Tomb. And Arthur just in the vicinity to say, what on earth has happened here?
And Mr. President will be escorted back, but no mana there for Tally. No health there. One bubble, one straight Q off an ultimate here from Kisee as well. And there is a real chance that Tally just gets bobbed. A little bit unlucky if you are Kisee because he has the barrier. Maybe if that was an ignite, it was definitely kill threat. Still going to force the base. That's the main point. He's done it by himself. He's also revealed the Nocturne by himself. That means that Ornn all the time in the world to go towards this objective with all that information in mind.
Wave crashed, objective secured, and information understood. Arthur's looking for that play though. Back to bot lane they go. They burn a flash on Corporal last time. They'll claim a kill this time. They're going to make it a second. It's Topoon of all people that hits the global ultimate and a cannon barrage secures his.
You'll be really happy with that if you are Topoon. Farming evenly in top lane, gets extra gold from the Q. Now give him an extra couple hundred. You know the Herald's been taken by Order, so Chiefs make the pretty standard response, right? They'll go towards the bottom side of the map, and it's quite simple. Corporal no flash. Of course we're going to go back towards him. And he's just standing a little bit too far forward, caught at the wall, perhaps placing or clearing vision down. Very easy stuff from the Chiefs and just very clean.
But you'd say definitely as far as things go in these first 10 minutes, both teams no doubt very happy with the win cons they're playing for, right? You want this Zoe to be ahead, and it is. You want this Nocturne to find its advantages, and it is as well. Ooh. Great sidestep on that trouble bubble. Tally really was in a whole host of trouble. No, ultimately he had a flash, but he would have been locked in place with far too much CC.
Yeah, legitimately just dodges both forms of crowd control that he had to dodge. So just fancy feet there from Tally. Big ups to him for being able to dodge all of those. At the very least, the summoner spell would have been used. If the Viego stun connected in the first place out of Shroud, it's just easy to follow up with a bubble. I think he dies.
Sure.
Not to be. Chiefs finding much more success with their gank so far. Goodo struggling to get on the board. Goes back towards his blue buff's going to be spotted on vision himself. You continue to keep track of him.
Aladoric keeping up pace here with the Ezreal. Pound for pound, they are the same CS. And that's what you want to see, especially in a range match, or range melee mismatch rather. We said certainly could be a bit of a rough ask for a Tahm Kench to try and sustain through all this poke, but certainly doing a good job so far.
I think the added advantage of the changes to Tahm Kench giving him the W all in is every time we look mid, it just seems like it's going worse and worse for Tally. Now that Tahm Kench can threaten the all in, I really don't want to finish a sentence. You hold your breath every time.
Any moment Kisee's going for this.
What I'm trying to say is anytime Tahm Kench hits a tongue lash now, he can threaten the all-in regardless of who the champion is. So if Karma oversteps, right, Q hits, you threaten the W instantly, you have engaged. So to actually sit there and harass at all times is tough.
It's on. This time the Frozen Tomb has to be cleansed. Oh, the fear. He thought he was out of range, but it still mattered. It still landed. And, well, this Nocturne really will just run you down upon his own Q. The Blaze trailed to glory. And that's a second kill for Arthur.
Yeah, unfortunately for Kisee, he's not going to be able to cleanse all of the crowd control. Reduces the duration of some of it. BioPanther also nearby. It seems like the play is just going to dissipate with the wave being caught by Goodo. Well played by the Chiefs. That is consecutive ultimates now from the Nocturne that have found absolute success. And that when you're playing with a Nocturne, it's always about that first ult, right? You have the ultimate hunter stacks. You're trying to find the first target to snowball yourself. You want to be a threat on the board. And now he is a huge threat.
An absolute menace. And I suppose long overdue as well, given the amount of pressure that Kisee has applied in this mid lane to get that sizable lead. It was only a matter of time before Arthur poked his head into that lane and gave him a bit of a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah, it's the window where you want Goodo to be protecting, right? Like, you really do need to try and be vigilant of where this Nocturne goes. But a couple of things that have really inhibited that is that Corporal's the first person who got targeted, right? So that's a lot of your vision control on the bottom side of the map that gets denied, because now you can't walk into the river for free if Arthur's there with ultimate and you have no flash. So that gets denied. That gets punished as well with a death. And Arthur goes from the top side of the map, which is something that was a lot harder for them to have vision for. They've placed a ward now with the blue buff, but... Oh, hang on.
It's on. Stun connects from both. Battlestar lands on towards Tally, who's down to 50. The Herald's also going to be utilized here to guarantee some instant gold injection to those two members. 2 plates remain. But a crippled turret nonetheless.
Goodo so far behind in regards to his items right now in comparison to Arthur. If that was a full mythic, there's a chance they want to commit to that as an all-in. They had Corporal hovering. Arthur about to have his ultimate back up here, however, on the flip side. Tally with ult ready, and bot lane definitely still a juicy looking target, but the Karma has flash. I think it is just mid, right? Like, no cleanse, no flash for Kisee. You just off cooldown. Especially when you've got permanent priority in bottom lane like this. Raes should be able to make a couple of these roams. Sweep his way up the river next time the sweeper's there and just go straight mid.
Yeah, you got your guaranteed vision. And certainly an area to attack for them. And we can see that's where Arthur's posted up. Always waiting, always keen.
There's a control ward there for Kisee. It's a false sense of security as well, if you keep that in mind. Depends where he goes from here, because they can't see him.
Yeah, Tally waiting off screen, hoping that he would, from Fog of War, just slightly overcommit. But that window is passed. And back to lanes we go.
Goodo's protecting bottom. He seems to be afraid of them potentially diving. Lissandra wants to make a play. Ezreal Karma has no real gank setup whatsoever. It has to be to make a counterplay.
Tally's just committed to TP to mid lane. Unleash Teleport is literally up in about 5 seconds. The ultimate's on. The roam from Kisee through bot lane river. He's saying hello. Let's do a play now. Dawning Shadow gets sidestepped. That's fantastic with the pressure on Raes! As Goodo claims his soul. The Cannon Barrage is there to try and deter him from pushing that much further. The bubble lands. The tether breaks. The call on the Forge God comes out. And BioPanther's made the great trek from top lane to bot. And what looks so good for Chiefs, making that play to take down Kisee. They pay for it big time.
Yeah, Bio definitely covers a whole lot of distance to get there. Tracks his way down. No Lissandra to be seen in the play from the looks of it. Also, teleport towards mid lane, but it fizzles by that time. The cleanse cooldown might have been something that really threw Chiefs. It was back up. It was ready. And then Raes gets caught out on the backside of the fight, trying to keep up with the rest of his team. And gets punished very nicely by order for that one. That's a huge skirmish for them. If you consider the gold lead right now is still 2,000 for the Chiefs after this skirmish, this was a must win. And it's the cleanse that comes through here straight after the fear. Puts him to sleep as well through the spell shield. So Arthur just gets done in by timings there. Goodo, who was hovering bottom, finds a reason to go up river with the rest of his team. I don't know if that was intentionally a bait from Kisee, because it sure felt like one. And if that was true, then that was expertly done.
Much back to your point before, right? How does an Ezreal Karma try and set up this gank? Well, somehow worked out in their favor. And unfortunately for Raes, thinking they were going to guarantee that kill onto what they imagined was a cleanseless Zoe. planted in the animation, casting that Dawning Shadow, and easy picking, despite burning the flash to try and run away. Quite enjoying this new Kraken Slayer variant of the Viego as well. Packs a big punch. Have seen it be either the press the attack or the Conqueror rune choice. But seems to be very much in your face and true to the bill of what durability is. True damage is the king.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Kraken's going to be one of the staple builds for it now, right? The more true damage you can do, the better you are going to be as a champion right now. Ezreal, one of those weird champions that fills an odd space in the meta also. I feel like Ezreal is good, but it doesn't feel like it's one of those S-tier champions that we all lose to in solo queue. But like a good Ezreal transcends meta because he hits his skill shots and it works.
It's on again. The lights turn off and the Hexgate comes out and Telly's found himself in such a great position. A two-man route at self-ult. You can't answer back. The true shot barrage. It merely tickles the Chiefs. Arthur wants more. He wants Goodo. He cannot find it. Shielded by the mid-tier 1. But a well-orchestrated play from the Chiefs.
That was absolutely incredible by the Chiefs. The way that they deny vision with the Nocturne ultimate while the Hexgate is being used to cover that distance. It's a surprise flank from a place you never saw it coming. That was exceptional by the Chiefs, by Tally and by Arthur. A couple of extra kills. They'll get a charge off in mid lane here as well. The 2,000 gold lead that was brought back, blown back out.
Back and in healthy margins again for the Chiefs. We've not only summoned that Herald in the mid lane and broken further structures. They're working their way towards this bot tier 1 as well. They don't want 2 turrets, they want the first 3.
That they will have. Top lane quietly achieving through all of these skirmishes as well. We'll see the replay one more time. Nocturne turns the lights out as the Hexgate comes across. Can't see him coming. Run towards the rest of your team because that's what you think is safe, but really, they're the ones caught on a flank. Ezreal ultimate was of course belonging to the side of Order, so that was never going to be lethal for Goodo. But they limp away with their lives. They're back at it again.
Certainly are. Playing little games there from Order inside the enemy blue buff. Waiting to see what the play may be. As Chiefs use their own Hexgates again to get from base to that position to answer back and bully them out. We've hit that point of the game though where side lanes become of paramount importance and it hasn't really changed the tune. If it is going to be Kisee and Telly still squaring off against each other, you are seeing him still hitting him with a lot of harass and just having to take it.
It is relentless, but it is also about where this Nocturne is. I think that's most of the game plan here for Order. Skirmishes are continuing to happen. We haven't seen any fully fledged 5v5 team fights yet. And if that's the case, Nocturne stays dangerous.
Sure.
And if he stays dangerous, that means rule number 1 is find where this Nocturne is, or your side lanes suffer constantly. Zoe might be winning the 1v1 against Tally, but if you don't know where Arthur is, he can't do that. Similar thing can be said for top lane, where Topoon is just supremely safe. Just completely protected if they are there. If they have information now, you can see they spotted the Nocturne. They know he's gone to red. They can look towards perhaps clearing the top side of the map after this next mid wave. Drake also up in 20 seconds.
Yeah, Drake apiece from either team. No early soul point for them to contest. Definitely a case of who can get back to base first, who can deploy in the area better.
I think Order being here first is crucial for their comp as well, though, right? Hit the bubbles, hit the Ezreal Zoe poke.
Ooh, nearly red Tally there with that disengage away. Would have been a very cheeky pick to start things off.
Order really want Ornn to teleport in here as well, Skimmy. That's 1 point of difference where the Topoon doesn't need to. He has the ultimate to be useful. You really want BioPanther to be getting into the mix. The waves have just been evened out a little bit more. There's a small window right now, perhaps, to teleport in. The play were to happen, but I do think that Order want to harass first. They want to poke first. Chiefs more happy to just hit.
Yeah, you'd imagine they really don't want to rush this to Order. But he's going to force the TP to come on through. They want to put up a contest.
Teleports are in.
Topoon's going to answer back in a defensive position. Call of the Forge Gold goes out. He doesn't know where to hit it because it is all black in the sky. The lights are out. The fight is on. The kills are coming. It's a kill found so far here from Topoon. The cannon barrage is in such an ideal position. Order can't do anything. It's a triple kill. It's an absolute disaster. It's a quad, and quite honestly, Topoon could have had the first penta.
That's a huge quad from Topoon for sure. They go straight towards mid, clear this wave, maybe even straight to the Baron buff afterwards. Raes has enough heals and they have more than enough damage here. They just wipe the floor with Ornn. No amount of poke, no amount of harass is going to come across that is meaningful enough. And it feels like, and we'll see this in the replay as well, Ornn were just so stuck in a choke point against a Gangplank, against a Lissandra, against champions that want that. And they just get torn apart.
The dream scenario, you'd have to say for Chiefs there, reading them like a book, saying there's only one avenue you're getting into this one. We know what you want to do. You want to poke, you want to set up, but you've set yourself up in such a one-dimensional manner. It's just so easy.
Yeah, they're in the mouth of the river entrance. The Ezreal is harassing over the wall, and it gets raised to half health admittedly, but BioPanther's over to the left. The rest of the team's caught in a situation where Tally can just go straight in with the claw, find a huge ultimate self-casted, and the rest of the team just follows through, right? Unstoppable is Topoon just dealing damage, and there was never a moment that Puma was involved, because he was just throwing Qs over the wall. I think in reality, you probably want to set up for these fights in a more front-to-back manner in the river, perhaps not in the entrance to the river.
A devastating team fight loss for them, but still, this Nocturne is putting on an absolute clinic here. And they've got a massive gold lead now. Another turret lost, another ultimate forced, another chance for them to try and find that pick. All the attention goes on towards this Tahm Kench. He hits the thick skin, he's got the mitigation, they bait them again! The cannon barrage is going to come across, and they've just hit them with a little bit of deja vu. They disengage away. Look how low Chiefs are, but it's a tag team. It's like a wrestling fight. They go in, they sub out, they go in again, and they just take them down with conviction. They found free, and Chiefs want that ace. They want that win, and they want their revenge.
Tahm Kench is going to eat Topoon there as well. He was tanking the turret. Chiefs very handedly dealing with Ornn. Only Corporal left standing and a Baron buff in pocket. That should just be the game.
And look at the timer, 22 minutes in. What we've noticed so far in this patch, much longer games. A statement, an absolute statement, festering in a defeat from that grand final. They've come on through and said, Ornn, we're better.
And our Split 1 title holders in Ornn have just been smacked around like it was nothing by the Chiefs. Very few signs of life, very few moments there where it felt like Ornn really had a shot. I think between the Nocturne and the Lissandra in particular, they were just too strong. They just constantly found these opportunities in these angles. Arthur's got a very unique
Arthur's
celebration.
Absolutely stoked. Raes is having none of it. Saying, you've played Nocturne. Good on you.
3 high 10s?
High 10s.
Is it his specific celebration? He seemed upset that Raes did 1.
Yeah, but Topoon's just revving at it saying, I played GP. Good times happened.
That was it, right? Like, we wanted Arthur to hit the hands 3 times. Raes didn't want it. So I'm thinking like chemistry, look, in the rift, it's looking pretty good, but out of the rift, maybe there just needs to be that little bit of extra work. Look, like this, Kitty. 3. What?
Okay, well, the chemistry's
we need to
gone.
work on the chemistry over here, damn it. But we're boxing. Kitty has been doing strength work and my hands are sore. But look, this game, Chiefs, as you mentioned, that hate festering, the revenge coming straight on through here in this second game for the Chiefs. So already a little bit of separation in the leaderboard between them and Ornn. And we were talking about this in the green room, the global presence coming through with the draft that Chiefs have brought in was just too much for Ornn to deal with.
Talking to my player today, that ultimate from the GP, the fact that they've all walked into the mouth of the river and said, wait, you can't move.
Yeah.
And honestly, this play instead could even be game player of the day because that was such a creatively orchestrated idea, right? Turn the lights off, hit the hex gates. I don't think we've ever seen that. And then surprise, surprise, how have you ended up here? There's no retreat. It's just a thing of beauty.
Just ridiculous creativity coming through with the draft, with the fact that they did get the hex gates coming through on the rift, and that just played into the comp. Now, Topoon was very, very close in this play in particular. At getting that first penta, man, was so close. But again, Puma, he's so slippery. I think if he died, he only died 1 time. The man, we were talking about this over in the green room as well, that he didn't have a huge amount of impact, but he wasn't feeding. He was just trying to scale, trying to survive. But this may be the fastest game we've seen so far. 22-43 this split, or was there a faster game yesterday?
Oh, there was 2 20-minute games yesterday, wasn't there? It was a 24-minute, and I'm not sure. This is definitely one of the fastest ones for sure.
Well, we'll get that one checked quickly while we have a look at all this
It is the
damage
quickest
coming
one.
through. It is?
Yeah,
Okay,
yesterday Chiefs
Skimmy's
got
on it.
24-10 against Mammoth, so Chiefs hold the record for both.
There you go. So they're really making it a real damn quick here, and that's some solid revenge. Was it Aladoric in the interview who said that they wanted to have the fastest game?
He wants the
was
fastest.
He wants the
Yeah.
record.
And they're getting closer and closer to that record every single day, but they still need to get sub 20, then they need to get sub 6.
16:58, I think it was. Yeah,
That's quick.
it's quick. Yeah.
And that's quick in this meta. If they can break that, that's worthy of not only a title, maybe a trophy, maybe even a trip to Worlds.
True.
Maybe. Now, look, what do we want to say was going right there for Order? Did we enjoy Goodo in his second attempt in the jungle for Order? Or do we sort of want to see a little bit more Rusty?
I think this game was the biggest Jiffy Diffy more than anything else. I think Goodo just couldn't do anything, right? Where I feel like Arthur was constantly having an impact. And
Yeah.
like, if you were to separate both teams and say what was the biggest difference, like what was the core reason that Chiefs won, I feel like Nocturne Lissandra just did a lot of work. But like, I can't say Kisee did nothing. He was constantly controlling the lane, but he had to deal with a Nocturne at all times. So for me, this was a jungle gap, and Goodo struggled to keep up with what a Nocturne can provide.
Before Zoe got locked in, we were actually discussing, because there was so many globals, so many big ults coming through from Chiefs, would it have been a good Silas angle? It didn't get hovered, but we know Kisee loves Silas.
Silas was banned 4-5.
Oh, he was?
Yeah.
Well, my eyes just don't work. Look, these don't need him. Just get rid of him. Anyway, either way, Silas would have been a good pick if he wasn't banned.
Yeah, it's true.
So it's not inaccurate. But Chiefs saw that one too, and they were thinking ahead of us. Kitty, anything else you want to touch on here? What Order can maybe look to improve on going into the next time they verse Chiefs, or just anything beautiful that we saw from Chiefs there?
Talking about draft, I saw the Gangplank Senna locked in 1 and 2 for Chiefs, which is a crucial mistake from Order's pick ban phase. I think you're not allowed 2 OPs on blue side. Usually you only give over 1 and you respond with 2 OPs back, where they opted into the Ezreal Karma, which isn't a very high priority in the current meta, where Ezreal is a decent pick, but he's not an OP pick.
Yeah, I feel like you could pick the
Okay.
Karma and hold the AD or something, right? Like there's options there, but they opted into the whole bottom lane, which kind of exposed and gave over a Senna Tahm Kench for free.
But look, we can hear this one straight from the horse's mouth. The horse, of course, being Raes. You're a pretty fast horse too. You know, you're leading the charge up the top of the leaderboard. How you feeling after that big fat dub? Getting your revenge, Raes.
Yeah, it feels good to like always get a dub against the new champs of LCO, especially like stomping them that hard. I think the game was like very slow up until a certain point, but you know, we just like aced them 2 team fights in a row and just smashed them.
Yeah,
Please
played
excuse
perfectly.
me.
Are you okay?
Look at the wallpaper in the background. Please excuse us.
It's
Well,
a video, it's a video.
let's talk about draft, Race. So you guys got to get the Gangplank and Senna Tahm Kench, which we've seen twice tonight. So why was there a preference towards the Senna Tahm Kench, and how do you think the draft went overall for this game?
I think there's a lot of like strong combo bot lanes that actually, I don't think Senna Tahm is like the best. It just depends like really what your like most preferred is, and for us, Ezreal Karma is definitely a good answer to it. So like, it looks like we're self counter picking ourselves, but you know, as long as you're like good at the lane, which like me and Ali are really confident at, we were like confident picking that into the Ezreal Karma, so that's why we did it.
Okay, now talk to me about the thought process behind your post-match celebration. Arthur, he wanted high 10s 3 times, but you didn't want to give it to him. Like, why do you not just let the man celebrate?
No, wait, was he doing it like multiple times? I just did it. I thought I was doing it just once.
I think you
did it
tried, and you kind of left him hanging. Anyway, look, that's something you guys can work on
Yeah.
going forward. On your next win.
And talking about next wins, well, we do have a lot of strong players returning back into OCE. So with Aladoric on your team, which other teams are you looking out for where you can reclaim that robbed throne from Split 1?
Definitely like Penta. I think they want to like bounce back after the Split 1. Kind of getting split by Order would be definitely like disheartening for them. So I think they seem like a lot better than last split. And Peace, like they have an individual upgrade in both bot lane positions, but they still like seem like headless chickens in game. Honestly, I think they are just getting carried by like their scaling currently, and unless they actually like fix their macro, like their awful macro, which is still present from last split, like they're not going to be up for it. So
Okay.
just Order and Pinson, I guess.
Well, there you go. High quality analysis coming through from Raes. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll let you go.
Thank you.
Enjoy the big old win.
Cheers.
Cheers. Always good to have a quick chat with Raes. Rusty, you got a look on your face.
It's just savage. I like it.
Yeah?
I like that there's... What is it with our AD carries and being brutally honest?
Yep.
All of them are.
They get to the
Honesty
point.
is the best policy.
And they
Now,
all call everyone trash though back.
They do. Violet, Praetor, and Raes all just go in on each other, don't they?
It's a double lift effect.
Puma does.
I'm a savage.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
they really all like... Who's not? I think Voice is like the least savage.
He's
Maybe.
savage
I
to
feel
his
like
own
he's
team.
got a streak. I feel like he's got a savage streak in him.
Ooh,
Hey,
yeah.
he's keen to unleash, let's be
Yeah,
honest.
I reckon he'd let it fly.
Yeah,
Okay, well, look, let's have a look at who the Dare MVP is for the final game of the day. And it was the big man in mid with the anime pose coming through, letting everyone know that he's got a sore nose or he pushes glasses up to do the anime glasses push and then have that whatever. Anyway, 107, doing a real good job there and being an instigator, making those plays, being creative there on the Lissandra, Rusty.
Yeah, he did very well with the Lissandra. I mean, he was pressured so incredibly hard, like you say early, but when it came to the fights, he did his job, and that's exactly what you need to do. One massive ultimate that sets up the Topoon Quadra is definitely the one that stood out, as well as the creative Hexgate usage with the Nocturne ultimate. But between him and Arthur, just clean 2v2.
Very, very good performance this evening. Kitty, anything you want to touch on? You were very impressed with Tally's performance.
I was super impressed. I genuinely think Hextech Gates are probably the most fun thing to watch in competitive play because it makes these pro players think creatively. And with Tally's mechanical play with that Hexgate and Nocturnal, I think that's play of the day worthy.
Certainly is, and that's coming up very shortly. Now, while we're talking about rifts, while we're talking about those Hex Gates, they're pretty interesting. But do you remember the one that disappeared halfway through Split 1 this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that called again, Rusty?
The Poo Cloud creator.
The Scion Soul.
What's it called?
Chemtech Soul.
Chemtech,
Yeah.
The
yes.
Chemtech Soul.
You just wanted me to say that.
He wants to hear
I
it.
didn't expect you to say that. I wasn't
Production's
fishing
just
for
been
anything.
leaked. It's just like,
Sigh.
you cannot say that.
Yes, they were definitely not laughing in my ear a second ago. But look, we have a play of the day. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but does anyone have anything memorable they want to throw out there before we have a look at what it is?
It's just, yeah, what Kitty mentioned or the GP Quadra, in my opinion.
Okay, I feel like, you know, it is probably the biggest play we've had so far. This split, there's only been 2 days. But look, let's have a look and see if we are on the money with it. Is it Topoon with that Quadra? Looks like it will be. Man TP's in just in the nick of time, but look at all those red health bars just get minced. Big ult coming down on top of him in a moment, and GP just laying down the groundwork. Looking like Donkey Kong with all those barrels, Skimmy.
It's just too easy. I mean, it's just criminal for me because you're thinking, okay, they're posted up. Order are there to the play first, right? As Rusty mentioned, this is great from them. That's where you want to be, but they just couldn't find the poke. Then the over-eagerness, I suppose, of the early TP, the first proactive TP from Ornn to say, let's make it happen. The lights go out. He's a deer in the headlights. Where's this ult going? Where's my R2 going? I'm over here. The rest of my team is dying trying to back me up. And ultimately, I mean, the Nocturne just did so much work from start to finish. We talk about the first ultimate needing to have an impact. Everyone did, which is just unfathomable. Forget about Axiom up getting resets. You know, it came up every 50 seconds, and every 50 seconds having a panic attack.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right, where it's like the wombo combo without the happy feet, because he doesn't have to move that much, honestly. Gangplank, pretty slow, pretty, you know, nah. You know?
I mean, the most dangerous thing you can do against the Gangplank is fighting in a choke point, and that's what Tally did. He got 3 of them stunned in a choke point, and Gangplank dropped the ult with the collect and collecting those kills.
I can't believe you had a straight face with these 2 idiots on either side of you. Just doing the
What's
weirdest
happening?
thing.
She's a professional. She's also, she might not have peripheral vision, so look, I'll give that one to Kitty. Either way, look, let's have a quick look at the leaderboard after everything has gone down today. And we've got 3 teams still up there in first place. Peace, Pentanet, and Chiefs still tied. We'll see how long that lasts. Dialbs and Order there in 4th. Dialbs, of course, getting that big old W. And Order copping an L after losing that grand final rematch. 6th place, Gravitas, Mammoth, Kanga, all tied up with 0-2 scorelines. But we are seeing some good signs from a couple of these bottom-of-the-table teams. Of course, they're bottom of the table at the moment. Not too sure if they're going to stay there or grind their way back up. But we will see. We will find that one out as we continue moving on with the split. Speaking about moving on, let's see what will be on your screens next week for day 1 of week 2. Okay, kicking things off, Peace and Mammoth to open up that day. Order and PGG could be a absolute banger if I've ever damn seen one. Looking at the rest of the menu, Kanga and Dials for that 3rd game, and then Chiefs and Gravitas to round out the night. Chiefs keep copping these real late games. Seems to be a recurring trend. Skimmy, do you think that's fair?
I don't know.
I mean, they're in Brisbane, so aren't they? Are they 2 hours behind?
They're
1 hour.
1 hour behind.
Ahead? Behind?
Ahead?
Ahead?
Behind.
Behind.
We know our
Behind
times,
where?
guys. Behind.
Well, if it's 9, it's 8 for them.
Hang on.
It says behind where, and Kitty's
No.
like, bruh.
Are you telling me to go behind?
Yes, behind me.
Ah.
Oh
okay.
my
Yes.
god.
Look, you know what, Mac? Yeah, Mac, please.
Mac, please.
My
Look,
favorite
actually,
game has to be Direwolves up against Kanga because those boys be slain. They're getting it done.
Those boys be slain.
They're getting it done.
What's going
and I'm pretty keen to see them just go bang, bang.
Bang, 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 bang.
Gang, gang.
Gang, gang. All right, I'm going to move back to my seat. So Kitty looks lonely.
Missed you, bro.
Thanks for keeping it warm for me. Oh, well, that brings us, one step closer towards the end of the day. It has been a fun one this week. Back in studio, rubbing shoulders with everyone rather than just, having that separation of cameras online. It's good. It's so great.
Kitty just disappears off to the side.
I just slide out.
Yeah.
We exist below the chest and have ears. Like, that's how much of us, like, on camera in studio, you could finally see that we have feet. We're real.
Yeah. And Rusty took full advantage of not having feet and, not seen below here. He told me that he wore footy shorts every day and wanted to show legs. He said next week he might actually wear footy shorts for the show. So type 1 in chat if you want to see that.
I'll do it.
Quickly open that one up.
One. Beautiful. Anyway, that brings us to the end of week number 1 of the LCO delivered by Menulog. Thank you all very much for watching. We'll see you next week for much more fun, much more action, and much more League of Legends. See you then.
Lisa going, oh, that's a beautiful Dragon's Rage. A flashback across the wall. A preemptive dash from Guncrab's Tahm Kench. And in goes the Shurima Shuffle. Knocks back 2. It's a double, though, for Tien on the sidelines, who says, look, I've had enough of this one. I'm going to get myself a triple kill. I've hit 2 items. I've got all the crit chance. Well, once again, nice and early. He's denied them. A 1-man sleep, actually a 2-man sleep. Instantly cleansed there from Dante. The fight does begin. And they jump in with Tyrant, looking to try and lead the line and slam dunk them home with a win here. Suman's jumped on through. He's got the R2 charge, but he's going to go golden once. And then as he comes out, slash through them all and take them down and say, that is an ace. One hits the trigger. Oh, a flash jump across the wall from Fury. An instant ult away. Mayfong jumps in. It's a drive-by that literally did nothing. That is a disaster. And then Yuri comes across and says hello, but it's all Bradiff, who's got a triple kill. He's eventually been shut down here by Voice, who's bleeding, who's low, who gets flashed and 5 breath upon. Well, through him, Topoon's going to answer back in a defensive position. Call of the Forge Gold goes out. He doesn't know where to hit it because it is all black in the sky. The lights are out. The fight is on. The kills are coming. It's a kill fan so far here from Topoon. The cannon barrage is in such an ideal position. Ornn can't do anything. It's a triple kill. It's an absolute disaster. It's a quad. And quite honestly, Topoon could have had the first.
Hey, look, menu pog.
At LCO, hashtag LCO, send in the content. You can get it up on stream and we can go, when it's up, just reaction.
Maybe even Uwu.
Maybe.
You can.
How do you do that in real life? By the way, just because we've been online. We've been online as for LCO.
Don't you have to do
for a
something
little while.
like one of these things, like
Oh, Jesus.
don't you have to do something like that? No?
Well, that's a new GIF. Good luck.
Love your work, Triana.